We're live and we're going to talk about the idea that XRP is the next chosen one via Wall Street. Yesterday, we had a little bit of disappointing news for the XRP army. Well, some people thought it was disappointing. Other people didn't think it was disappointing. Me, if you guys watch the video I put out, you'll understand my thought process on it. I didn't think it was disappointing at all. I think that Swift not picking Ripple's network to run their business on was a smart business move. And I think that it's actually good for Ripple long term. The reason why I think it's good for Ripple long term is because Ripple's trying to really kind of enter into the market and be a competitor of Swift because they think that they can do things better. So Swift announced yesterday that they are going to be utilizing Ethereum consensus for interoperability for smart contracts and all of that for their messaging, the P2P currencies, all that type of stuff. Okay. So that's great, fine, fantastic. And the reason why I'm not bothered by it is because we have RLUSD that was created to run on top of, as of right now, and I'm sure they'll add more chains later because interoperability is going to be the big thing, but it's going to be running on top, it's already running on top of XRPL and Ethereum. The reason why Ripple chose XRP or chose Ethereum, two chains, no pun intended. But the reason why they picked two chains is because they knew that Ethereum is kind of Wall Street's chosen one this cycle. And again, one of the reasons why I own a lot of Ethereum, I'm going to be selling most of my Ethereum. And this cycle, once we hit my $10,000 target, again, not financial advice. But the reason why is because I think the narrative is going to continue to shift. Each cycle, there's a brand new narrative. There's different chains that are being utilized. And it just kind of, figuring out what that is. It could be Solana, it could be Ripple's ecosystem, it could be Hedera, it could be any, multiple different things. So let's go ahead and talk about why XRP could potentially be Wall Street's next chosen one. Because again, things are cyclical, and I understand that crypto is getting, adopted into traditional finance. So the market cycles and those types of things are going to change. But realistically, at the end of the day, most Americans, most people hold their investments for like 40 years, 401ks. It's a very, very popular investment for retail. I've got a 401k. And we're not really concerned with a lot of the volatility because we're holding long term. So I'm not concerned with it. I do take profit on some of my things. This is why I'm selling most of my Ethereum. You guys have to also understand, I'm selling most of my Ethereum because I got in under $300. So why wouldn't I want to realize profits and gains? But again, that could potentially change. Anyways, shout out to our channel members on YouTube, to Mr. Dale, to Mr. R, to Mr. Lawrence, to Mr. D, to Mr. Mixing, and my TikTokies. Love you guys. The guys and gals watching me on Twitch and of course Rumble. But let's get straight into it because there's a lot happening. And shout out to Chad here reminding me to do Tube Top Tuesday because I had forgot because I'm hungry. I got some leftover steak and I'm hungry. I made eggs in the microwave yesterday. I know. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's get into our first little titty bitty over here. Oh, before we talk about that, Mr. Trump says that U.S. will probably have a government shutdown. And I said, anytime we hear the word government shutdown on the internet, we should all take a sip of water because it's during the week and we drink like gentlemen. Cheers. Or chicken bone broth. That works too. That works too. But let's get into the XRP this report from Cointelegraph. So XRP is Wall Street's dark horse. Why some funds see it like Bitcoin. I don't agree with that, with the headline, okay? Don't agree with it because Ripple's ecosystem, XRP, Bitcoin, completely separate things. We can talk about the DeFi aspect. Oh, Lawrence, it didn't register. Let's try to get you one. I'm sorry, sweetie. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Let's see what's going on. Why is it not add as moderator, managing moderator, standard moderator, capability standard moderator. Okay, let's do that. Let's see. Hopefully it works. It should be. Mr. Lawrence. We'll see. Okay. All right. So Bitcoin and XRP are very, very different. Very, very, very different in my personal opinion. And I don't think it's fair to really to compare them together. But people like to do that because it's clickbait. All right. So let's go ahead and go through this report. I'm going to give you guys my feedback. XRP is being reviewed by some funds at Wall Street's dark horse in crypto investing. ETF filings for XRP are drawing renewed attention, suggesting it might cross into TradFi. It's going to cross into TradFi 100%. We also had an ETF analyst, I think it was either Nate or I forget who it was, but he's 100% positive they're going to get crypto spot ETFs approved. Where did he say that? He says that, where the hell is it? Yeah. Mr. Eric B. on ETF approvals. Honestly, the odds are really 100% now. And he's talking about XRP and a lot of the other crypto spot ETFs. So we're definitely getting these crypto spot ETFs. We already have the Rex, Osprey, etc. And all that does is it adds a pathway for hedge funds, for family offices, for banks, for TradFi, you name it. Anything in TradFi, 401ks, once that EO was signed off of. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He's the final boss. It basically allows for capital to flood into Ripple XRP. So yeah, Wall Street's going to definitely enter into it. And again, Ripple's ecosystem offers something very different in crypto. Yes, other companies have tried to duplicate it. It's not really comparable to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is very decentralized. Ripple, the entity, is not decentralized. Their ledger XRPL is. But what they're doing is they are trying to kind of replace the existing traditional financial system because there's money to be made. Why wouldn't they? 7 XRP ETF applications are currently under review. From October 18th to the 25th, the SEC will decide on 6 major XRP ETF proposals. Also, we talked about these dates yesterday. The 18th of October, that's a Saturday. So we should be hearing something on Friday, the 17th, because they're going to have to update. Also, October 25th is a Saturday. So we should hear something on Friday, the 24th, the day before. So the SEC is going to decide on 6 major XRP ETF proposals. XRP is one of those assets that already has a futures and that is semi-mature on the market. And again, the SEC changed their, they created generic listing terms or requirements so that companies don't have to file the 19B4 if they're basically already a futures and on, have a few different qualifications. Basically the futures. All right. So we're getting these. They're coming and they're going to come in hot. Each one of these ETFs, regardless if it's XRP, HBAR, whomever, maybe ADA, they are anticipated to bring in about $8 billion worth. And yesterday we also covered a story with an ETF analyst that said that once these crypto spot ETFs get approved in Q4 of 2025, that they will actually bring about $60 billion worth of volume just by at the end of the year. And I think by next year, it's just going to go absolutely crazy. We're going to see billions and billions of dollars. And so we have that. Plus, Ripple's bid for a national bank charter is also expected to be decided in October. Ripple also acquired Hidden Road, and they want to acquire a bank. They want a bid for a national bank charter, which is pretty big stuff. I think Coinbase is going to be a bank as well. So it's kind of a race between that. Nate G and others argue demand for XRP ETF is being underestimated, and I agree with them. I agree with these ETF analysts that it's being underestimated, primarily because it's retail's favorite coin, and Wall Street and traditional finance, they know that how much you guys love XRP, so why wouldn't they want to get in on that money? But good news is you guys get to front run them. Also, shout out to Alexandra, gorgeous Alexandra, channel member, and Mr. John Legend. If you guys would like to get shout outs, you need to become a channel member. And if you would like me to answer your questions, you need to be a channel member on YouTube. A girl can only do so much. Now, CME XRP futures have surpassed $1 billion in open interest, signaling institutional interest. And shout out to Gamer. Canary Capital forecasts up to $5 billion initial demand for an XRP ETF, just one. And institutional wallets now hold $928 million in XRP. So this could very well be the next hot pick for Wall Street. Is it guaranteed? No. Can we use this fundamental analysis and anticipate things? Yeah, we can. One thing I will say, and I always have to give you guys bullish and bearish news, one thing that I will say is that Wall Street's favorite coin or token or technology, these companies have to continue to crank stuff out. They have to continue to crank out partnerships and crank out technology and continue to produce because technology is moving so fast now. And we thought forever that Ethereum was going to be the golden child of crypto. And then Solana stepped up and said, hey. So my only bearish thing is that just as long as Ripple continues to directly compete and to acquire and to do these partnerships and build volume on XRPL, it's going to be fine. And it is going to be something that's very of interest to Wall Street, primarily if they are actually able to get if they are able to get these banking licenses and whatnot. So again, this is going to be important. So don't let Wall Street front run you, but make sure you guys have a trading and investing plan. All right. Now there's a lot of regulatory news we need to talk about. It's really crazy bullishness from the SEC, different things Paul Atkins said. So please stick around for it, because this is just it's about tokenized stocks and literally everything. Also, Arthur Hayes came out and said why the hottest crypto projects are still out of reach for Wall Street. The reason why this is important that he said that, because we are talking about Wall Street. Wall Street is still having a pretty difficult time interacting with much of crypto, because again, we don't necessarily have we don't have all of the guidelines yet globally. But one thing that I will say is that we are able to directly invest, to purchase, to hold, to buy, to sell, to do what we want to do in crypto, to operate in this true decentralized economy. So you really, 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 really need to continue to think about this and have it fresh on your mind. Okay. And a really great place to learn about traditional finance, because I'm still learning terms too, and you guys are going to have to continue to get yourself more well-versed on these terms. Because again, I don't come with any TradFi background. Investopedia and Binance blogs is a great place. You can use your 401k to buy crypto once I believe the Senate passes or the law is created. And again, we talked about the odds are 100% now that spot ETFs are going to get approved, primarily because of the generic listing. Also, new crypto, this is so cool. New crypto ETFs could come to market by Halloween. Spooky. The SEC's approval of generic listing standards opens the door for Litecoin and Solana ETPs. And of course, XRP, because we just kind of talked about those dates. But again, this is more information about the generic listing standards. And, Mr. Eric B says, yes, it's 100%, whatnot. And we are going to see these happen, in my personal opinion. I really, 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 really do. Also, Mr. Eric B and a lot of the other ETF analysts, they're anticipating over 100 crypto ETFs could launch in the next 12 months due to the fast tracking with the brand new SEC guidelines. Without having to submit the SB1, etc. And while we're talking on that, should we talk about the regulatory stuff? Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and cover a couple of it over here. Mr. Paul Atkins from the SEC posted, it's time for the SEC to remove its thumb from the scales and allow the market to dictate optimal reporting frequency based on factors such as companies, industry size, and investor expectations. And again, this is just less reporting from the it's just less reporting for a lot of companies. And this is more geared towards the stock market, but we're seeing a lot of deregulation, a lot of removal of red tape, which is incredibly important. And the reason why it's important is because that's going to end up impacting crypto in a positive way, because you have to remember there's a lot of crypto treasury strategies like the DATs, etc. Also, this piece came out. The SEC is willing to engage with tokenized asset issuers, says Hester Pierce. So basically, they're talking about tokenizing stocks. They're talking about tokenizing stocks and traditional assets, and and the SEC basically wants to relinquish a lot of their harsh practices in the past and allow a lot of this stuff to get streamlined, because it's very tedious, and they really, 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 really want to focus on just getting things approved so the technology can continue to work. And obviously fraud and those types of things is illegal, but at the same time, I mean, it's good stuff. SEC willing to engage with tokenized asset issuers. SEC, Hester Pierce says, also, too, you can roll over some of your 401k and those types of things, and you can use iTrust Capital. It's on my website. But basically, in this piece over here, Pierce encouraged industry participants to engage directly with the SEC about tokenized efforts and highlighted regulatory complexity of how different versions of the same assets interact. And she called for a nuisance case-by-case regulatory approach to tokenized assets, which is good. Also over here, this comes from Miss Ellie from Mr. Paul Atkins from the SEC, who said crypto is the SEC's top priority right now. And the reason why we're talking about the SEC crypto being the top priority, because it really kind of segues into what's going on with the crypto ETFs and with all of the company, with them trying to kind of bring business back to the US. Now we have this piece over here from Ripple's CLO, Mr. Stewart. He said Washington must finish the job on the Clarity Act. And this is an important piece from him. And I know I'm kind of going on a little bit about the regulatory and kind of all over the place right now. Well, actually, no, it's all flowing together. But the reason why this is so important is because you guys have to understand, we have Ripple's CLO that's actively talking to the SEC, that's talking to lawmakers, that's talking to the people at the White House. This would have never happened back in 2020. This would have never happened back under the previous administration. And basically in this article over here, he urges Congress to pass clear regulations, says crypto clarity is now an official SEC priority, which Paul Atkins said, yes, it is. And the fact, I mean, if you weren't here last cycle or in 27 or the previous cycle, 2017, that's okay. Because I try to bring a little bit of history into the news stories that we cover, because seeing this type of interaction between the SEC and a crypto company, especially one that got sued, is crazy that they're both agreeing on the same thing. But he cites polls showing Americans want more crypto protections, warns that lack of rules punishes innovation overseas, calls fall 2025 a critical window for lawmakers to act, and says clear rules will protect users and support responsible innovation. 100%. 100%. Now, a little bit more of back to the XRP drama over here. So this is a community member over here kind of getting upset about what's going on with the whole Ripple entire thing. So he says, hey, Brad Garlinghouse, the XRP community would love to have a new statement from you about SWIFT. I love the 2018 one. What's your current take based on recent developments? Blah, 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 blah. But basically, I don't think we need a current statement from Brad Garlinghouse. I think that Ripple is doing everything it said it was going to do. First off, nobody anticipated Ripple getting sued. What was it? I think it happened like 2020-ish, right? We didn't anticipate Ripple getting sued. We didn't anticipate all these crazy crypto enforcement actions happening, all this litigation happening. And now that that's completely done, the case is over, Ripple can do what it needs to do. It can acquire Hidden Road. It can get the spot ETFs. It can get its own bank charter or whatever it is. I mean, yeah. And yeah, Gamer, I'm aware that all the stuff is going to get pushed back because of the government shutdown and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I did a video for you guys yesterday. The government shutdowns don't necessarily last that long. So I think the longest one was like 35 days that I remember, at least. So things are going to get done. It's just a bunch of BS back and forth, and the entire reason why they want to shut it down is ridiculous. Americans do need to get priority. So I think Ripple is doing what it needs to do, and I don't think Brad Garlinghouse owes anybody a explanation. And I like that they're doing their own separate thing. Now let's go ahead and talk about Chainlink. So Chainlink integrates Swift messaging to streamline tokenized fund workflows with UBS. Chainlink is one of my top picks. This cycle primarily because, and I do have a video coming out for you guys this week about it, but Chainlink is working like 2,500 different projects, and now they're integrating into Swift. So they're going to be working with UBS to test a new way to manage tokenized funds. Banks can now use Swift messages to trigger actions on chain. No need for new systems or upgrades. It works with banks already, and Chainlink's system reads Swift messages and runs smart contracts. UBS has used this to manage buying and selling of tokenized funds, which again, tokenized funds, RWAs, tokenized stocks, tokenize your moms, your dads, all the stuff, especially the dads. We love the dads. But basically, it's talking about helping banks start using tokenized asset. And Swift is used by over 11,000 banks around the world. Goals to make blockchain easier and bigger, faster for institutions. And I want to say that I forget what the partnership between Ripple and Chainlink is. But again, Chainlink is integrated with a lot of legitimate projects, with the legitimate traditional financial entities, etc. All right. Now, while we're on the subject of tokenization, RWAs, Kronos, Crow, they announced a collaboration with AWS, Amazon, to enhance tokenization and drive a $10 billion RWA initiative. And they basically want to reach 20 million users by 2026. Kenyatta, I think that's how you say your name. Chainlink is a different technology than XRP. You have to really understand what's going on. You need to understand Ripple is an ecosystem like Swift. It's basically a competitor. It's like Swift, but it's blockchain. It's different. It's got their own ecosystem. Okay, it's got XRPL, the chain. It's got the stablecoin, RLUSD. It's got their token, XRP. Chainlink is a technology. Yes, it does have a token affiliated, but Chainlink is an oracle. What Chainlink does, it provides a service for people like Swift, for people like Ripple, for people like Ethereum, for people like, Solana, like different projects built in this so that they can push through proper price feeds. That's what oracles do. It makes it provides accurate data streams, lowers costs, et cetera. Hey, Tim, how are you? So it's not like Chainlink over XRP. It's different technologies. You can't compare them. You can't. No way to compare them. You need both to function properly. And again, this is just moving more towards tokenization, which is why the SEC is talking about tokenized asset issuers. That's what Hester Pierce is talking about. Now, Ethereum, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the ETFs. Ethereum and Bitcoin spot ETFs combined daily inflows top 1 billion. Bitcoin ETFs registered 522 million in net inflows, led by Fidelity's FBTC. Interesting. And Ethereum ETFs saw 547 million in net inflows after a 5-day of consecutive outflows. Nice. Ethereum actually beat Bitcoin. Interesting stuff. All right. So taking a look at the market, because we do a little bit of a market update over here. We've got XPL, Zcash. I have one Zcash. Aster, just to, kind of here or there, kind of minimal gains across the board. Also, it's token 2049. And with it being token 2049, we're still going to have announcements and news, but the markets are just going to be a little bit slower, I believe, because a lot of people are in Asia right now. So taking a look at Bitcoin dominance right now, Bitcoin dominance is currently sitting at about 59.13%. Bitcoin is a little bit sluggish right now. We almost tapped onto this resistance area about of 115. And we're pulling back a little bit and currently trading at 113. Me personally, I just want to see a sustain over 111,000. And again, because it is token 2049, the markets might be a little bit. Shout out to Vancouver, Canada. Canada is not a real place, and it's just a joke that I say that, guys. Come on. Also, if you guys would like to trade with me, we're on Kraken. We got the QR code up there. We got the ref link down there. If you want a more traditional approach, you could go to iTrust Capital. We got the ref link down there. Or if you want to be degenerate, you could go over to Femex. Ref link is down there. But now taking a look at Ethereum actually got a high of 4,200, but now we're getting ready to retest 4,000, and we do need to sustain above it. So the market's a little bit sluggish right now, even though our daily looks nice and bullish when we printed that green dot at the bottom. Solana is also sluggish, currently trading at $205, but we've got our support at 198. XRP sluggish as well at having a retrace, currently trading at $2.83. Chainlink is back at $21. I feel like it was $21 yesterday. So there we are. ADA, with some big ADA news broke. I got that for you guys tomorrow. Currently trading at 78 cents, and HBAR is slumping back to support at about 20 cents. Now let's keep this going. SEC, here was a story over here. SEC moles stocks trading like cryptocurrency. Sorry guys, sorry. I was getting a little bit over myself over here. With that being said, basically the SEC exploring ways to let stocks trade like cryptocurrencies using blockchain technology. The plan would allow stocks to trade on crypto exchanges. Discussions are underway with major exchanges, including NYSE. This is tokenization. So any project that is tokenization, Hedera, and many other ones, you probably want to be focusing on those. And again, the reason why I like Hedera is tokenization, RWAs, DeFis, and AI. It has all of those together. So once this does get approved, and we will start to see a lot of these chains kind of seeing which chain is going to be used. And shout out to Gamer so much for the $5 super chat. Ooh, Italian deli. I would love a sandwich right now, but what can we do? We got to work. All right, let's keep going. I got to go get my mom too. All right, I'm running up on the clock over here. We talked about the ETFs. SEC moves to let stocks trade on chain like crypto. We're still in the process of that. Also, NYSE, the world's largest stock exchange, just met with the SEC Crypto Task Force, tokenize equities. So we are going to start everything's going to be tokenized. All going to get tokenized. Also, really quickly with Binance, the reason why this is important is because this will help push regulation and all these things forward. But I wanted to kind of talk about this really quickly with Binance because Binance links pilots crypto as service, a premium white label infrastructure solution empowering traditional financial institutions to enter the crypto market. If we want to have stocks and bonds and ETFs and all these things be completely tokenized, they're going to need services like this. And I like that Binance just takes initiatives and they do stuff. So basically they launched a crypto as a service to help banks and brokerage offer crypto trading. When we're talking about crypto trading, it's no longer just crypto. It's also going to be TradFi. And I like that they're willing to help banks because banks are really going to need to figure out how to custody crypto for their clients. It needs to happen. BitGo can't do it all itself. It's a plug-and-play solution using Binance's backend infrastructure, which lets institutions offer trading under their own brand, which is good. Cover spot, futures, custody, compliance, and settlement. Those are going to be key because while you're trading your spot, your futures, or whatever the heck, you got to be able to be compliant. You need a safe custodian, which a bank is safe, and settlement. If internal liquidity is low, they can tap into Binance's global order book for deep liquidity, built-in tools, KYC compliance, and security. So shout out to Binance for that. Also, too, Visa test pre-funded stablecoins for cross-border payments, uses USDC and EURC from Circle. I do think that Circle will be the CBDC, in my personal opinion. Also, I'm posting this video for you guys later, so I'm not going to cover it. But Brian Armstrong is outside fighting for your rights against the banks, because basically the banks want to stop yield. So I'm going to do a second video for you guys about that today. It's going to be launched at 2 p.m. PT. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, what's going on, and why the banks are doing this. And then I kind of want to end here with this little clip because it's freaking hilarious. So let's watch this together. Decentralized finance. They want to win on blockchain. So this is Shane from Polymarket and the CEO of CME. They want to win in decentralized finance. They want to win on blockchain. And really, you're at a fork in the road where, hey, I can either go and wait and lobby and do rulemakings for 5 years while everything happens offshore, and we're left with consumers having to work with guys like you who are a lot older, may not. With all due respect. Did you see him? He said, boop. Allegedly, I read somewhere that CME people, they were bankrolling Miss Warren. Bankrolling Miss Warren. So there's that. But anyways, you guys, that's it for today. I've got the second media piece coming out, a second video about Coinbase and the banks and all kinds of stuff. So make sure to check that out. And I'm going to, and then I got the wrap up at 6 p.m. PT, but I got to go get my mom because we have to go do stuff today. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Sending y'all love and light, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be 10 a.m. PT because Lowe's got something at school. Oh, thank you, Lawrence, for confirming it. Yeah, they did pay. They did pay to do that type of stuff. So, anyway, sending you guys love and light, and I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. because I got to do something for Lowe's school tomorrow. And thank you all for supporting me, so I'm able to do that. Goodbye.